So, once again, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to Cluj International Airport, the first regional airport of Romania, and second largest of the country, where we are united today for the third edition of the Regional Air Transport Conference. Conference which aims to bring together leaders of the world of aviation, which can develop and discuss here today, this afternoon, about all of the latest updates in the world of aviation with an important impact on regional airports and also on what, let's say, the next phases in terms of development and infrastructure will be for regional airports, not only from Romania but also from the entire region. And we are thankful, let's say, for this opportunity to meet this afternoon here to one of the most important friends of Cluj Airport in these times, namely Mr. Kostas Iatrou, CEO of Air Transport News platform, an important aviation platform that delivers important pieces of information to the whole European network. And I would like to invite him on stage to say a few words in the very opening of our conference today.
Mulțumesc, Sorin. You know that every time I'm here I feel like home. Unfortunately, I don't speak too much Romanian apart mulțumesc, Cluj and of course Noroc. But really it's the right place to organize this, isn't it? As Sorin said, this is not the first edition, the third edition we do this event together. And it's a high level, you know. Always the policy of ATN is to do different events around the globe, but always to be segmented and have something to add value. Not just to have a nice atmosphere, but definitely you're going to see. We work together with Cluj International Airport to deliver something high standard. And as Sorin said, this is the third edition, and this year is linked about the infrastructure challenges and development. You notice that there is a completely new terminal here, and could it be better topic linked with that, because it opened this year. Not only this, there were really either wisdom they had or lucky ones, name it, that this year also Romania is part of the second area. Then they came at the right time for this expansion of the terminal. A great job, Ciceo, the CEO, very good friend of ATN, of myself and my family, will make a really great presentation about the development of the airport. You know, he's the only person in planet Earth that took an airport with 30,000 passengers, and it is more than 3 million. And they need an applause. And probably you saw that this year in our annual awards of the Air Transport Awards, David became only the third CEO of an airport to receive the Leader of the Year exactly for this, because he's the only person on planet Earth that made this. You know, Glyn, you know, we are good in numbers, 30,000 to 3 million. It's a huge growth that nobody else, I think, have done that. Regional development, as I said, of airports and airlines is critical for the companies and plays a vital role to the local economies. Always a focus about the big airports, but we have to see also the regional airports, because they are contributing, they are feeding the big hubs. You remember 2 years ago we had here the CEO of Istanbul Airport, and when asked him to join here the event, he said, yes, I can, because there is a link between regional airport and the hubs. Then there are infrastructure challenges, and you know, there are shortages of available space, seasonality. Then it's sometimes more difficult. If you have followed the ACI Europe figures, you see that most of the regional airports, they are not profitable. It's not the case here, but many European airports, regional airports, are not profitable. Then, to make a decision to expand might be a risky one, because you might not get your investment, return on investment. Then questions as who will bear the cost arise when it comes to justify the expansion versus then no action probably, and of course the loss of traffic or move traffic to another airport. These are challenges that we're going to talk today, and as Sorin said, we focus on high-level people. We have a great panel we're going to talk later on today about this. Then, closing, I would like to thank David Ciceo, the CEO of Cluj International Airport, but also his great team, amazing team, all of them great team, and I feel really comfortable and great to be here with Sorin, Costa, and the rest, Diana, Paula, and the other member of the team of Cluj, because if it is happening, if it is successful, it is a teamwork under, of course, the leadership of David, Ciceo, and I would like to thank you, mulțumesc, to be here in this great Friday afternoon. Mulțumesc.
Thank you, Kostas, for your very kind words. Now I would like to give the stage to our CEO, Mr. David Ciceo, to say a few words in the opening.
Thank you very much, Air Transport News, and especially Kostas Iatrou, our great friend. Air Transport News managed in the last years to prove that it is a high-level platform for aviation and a very good friend of aviation. Kostas also, he is very active in aviation around the world, and he's a great specialist. I would like also to thank you to distinguished speakers, to all our guests, my colleagues, directors, and especially to Mr. Sergius Well from Chișinău Airport. Chișinău Airport is very active and very close to Romanian airports, to Romanian Association of Airports, and we hope to increase the traffic between Romania and Chișinău. It is a good opportunity to discuss regarding our future, our development. As you all know, it is a period of great challenges regarding aviation, airports, airlines. We have to take sometimes tough measures, and apart from official discussions, I am sure will be a very good networking and very good discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this. Now I would like to welcome on stage for the second time in Cluj. Last year was his first time, I think, ever to Romania, but he's been highly appreciated not only by the airport but also by ATN platform for his very valuable contribution to the conference. And I would like to welcome him on stage to give a keynote address, Mr. Glyn Hughes, Director General TIACA.
Thank you very much, Sorin. I want to say, first of all, thank you, David, thank you, Kostas, for inviting me to speak. It's not often cargo gets invited to speak to such an illustrious audience, so thank you all very much. I'm only going to speak for about 3.5 hours, so there's about 200 slides. As I say, it's a unique opportunity for cargo, so please lock the doors, make yourselves comfortable. First, I just want to take 30 seconds to introduce TIACA. TIACA is what we would call a horizontal trade association, where you have trade associations like ACI and IATA, which are vertical, representing one industry sector. We actually represent the industry of air cargo. So our membership is drawn from shippers, forwarders, airlines, airports, etc. And I'm very pleased to say that Cluj is one of our members following last year, and also testament to their vision to expand in the air cargo area. And a little tear came to my eye when I landed and I saw there was a freighter out there on the tarmac. So I am sorry, I have a soft spot for freighters. I love your passenger aircraft as well, but planes without windows, that's what I love. What I'm going to talk about today a little bit is the definition of success in the air cargo world. And I'd like to start with just a few numbers. As Kostas says, I do like numbers. My kid says I make up most of the percentages. I say that's about 70% true, the other 50% is genuinely accurate. First of all, I'd like to actually just look at the value that tourism brings to the global economy. And these numbers come from the United Nations World Tourism Council for the year 2023, generating $1.4 trillion to the global economy, which is a phenomenal number. From an air cargo perspective, I'll start with a little bit of context. Air cargo only moves 1% of international trade by volume, but that 1% represents 35% by value, and the total of that value was $8 trillion. So the air cargo contribution to the global economy is nearly 6 times as much as the entire value of tourism. And that tourism number is not just tourism by air, it's the total tourism number. So again, it demonstrates that air cargo has a unique role to play in actually moving high-value goods around the world that can generate real value and prosperity for national economic growth. How also do we measure success? Well, during COVID, it was very easy. Sadly, with so many passenger aircraft grounded, it was imperative that the freight moved around the world to bring PPE and then vaccines to the global community. So it was very easy to see that success. It's also very easy when there's times of hardship. Sadly, the earthquake in Turkey was one that really sticks to mind as the severe number of people who were impacted. But whether or not it's earthquake, famine, whatever natural or man-made disasters that occur around the world, the air cargo industry is the first responder. Sometimes just bringing in water and blankets can save millions of lives. But that just doesn't happen during times of disaster. Every day of every year, there are programs in place which are moving life-saving vaccines and healthcare products around the globe. Every year, at least 20 to 30 million children in Latin America and Africa receive life-saving or life-protecting vaccines that can only move by air. They're very sensitive in terms of temperature. They're very sensitive in terms of the product shelf life. There is no other means of movement, of transport. So it's only through the great networks that airlines put together and that airports put together can this cargo move. It doesn't all move on freighters. About 50% of all cargo moves in the bellies of passenger aircraft. So it's really is a combined effort to bring this success. The air cargo industry also supports wildlife programs. A lot of programs to actually reintroduce wildlife, breeding programs, etc., are very much contingent on moving animals around the world in, and I dare I say this, and I apologize for airlines in the room, the most first class of first class service. If you can imagine that if you were a beluga whale or a panda, you actually have 5 attendants traveling with you. You know, that's 5 concierge, that's 5 valets. If you need a haircut mid-flight, if you need your paws groomed, everything happens. That is the first class of first class travel. And again, it's very important. A lot of breeding programs are contingent upon the aviation industry. But that's one side of it. The other side of it is the economic side. E-commerce, which has been growing exponentially, probably about double-digit growth for the last 5 years. COVID accelerated the growth of e-commerce by about 2 to 3 years. As we're all sitting at home, we changed our buying patterns. Statistically speaking, there are some young people in the room, at least one of you will be buying something whilst I'm speaking, which is good because it'll move by air probably. But it also shows that when you buy something online, and my daughter does this pretty regularly, there's never an option that says, how would you like to receive the cargo? I'll take it by ship, please, in 75 days. No, she wants it tomorrow. In fact, she wants it yesterday. So this is an area of considerable growth we're anticipating for the next 5 to 10 years at least. When it comes to the physical number of parcels that e-commerce is generating, it's huge. In 2022, 170 billion parcels moved around the planet for e-commerce. That was 4 times more than 2014, and it's projected to grow another 50% over the next few years. So again, what that does imply, and one of the key words we talked about, is infrastructure. That means that the global airport network will need to, that's confirming that your e-commerce purchase has been successful. It's being shipped to you right now. But it also means that we have to look at the sustainability side of things as well, because the industry is coming under a lot of attack. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But again, it shows that the scale of growth is going to be quite considerable. Also, when you consider that every year at least 50 to 100 million new people enter the affluent middle class around the globe. And when you join the affluent middle class, you want the, as it were, the vestiges of that middle class, which is the high-tech gadgets, the electronic toothbrush, the smartphones, etc., the household appliances. Even if a big washing machine or fridge doesn't fly by air, the electronic components within it certainly will. So we can actually see that every year there is another 100 million people who are going to be very active in terms of e-commerce. I have to make a little apology for this slide. First of all, I'll talk about the facts. The facts are that there is another aspect of e-commerce which is really starting to take off, which is the social platform. Then the apology comes in. That's actually my daughter. I know when you look at her, you think, I'm not her father, she's far too pretty. I've had the DNA check, I can confirm, we are related. She has about 1 million followers across her various across her various social media platforms. And when she will do a brand partnership, and she'll go on and do perhaps a live stream of maybe 50 to 60,000 people, he can generate 1,000 purchases within a minute. Those 1,000 purchases are all flying by air, and she's a relatively small e-commerce or social influencer. When you take the scale of things that are going to happen, TikTok shop, for example, Instagram sales, even the Facebook marketplaces which are opening up, this is going to generate even larger volumes of traffic than we can actually even anticipate moving today. It will need considerable investment in the various infrastructures to make sure that that moves efficiently and in a timely fashion. I have to pay her, I should say, I have to pay her every time I use her image. So she'll check with you, say, how long is it on screen? Because it's per second. You know, her time is valuable, she says. It's life. The other key thing about e-commerce, which is really the most phenomenal part, is the world's largest shopping mall is with us all in our pockets on the smartphone. 57% of all e-commerce purchases are made via the smartphone. 24/7 shopping. And I know that, I'm sorry, Catherine, but your daughter's at the back, she's on the phone right now. She said, can you give her the credit card details? And I think this is something that without apologizing for making light of this, but this is something which is very unique. We've not seen in air cargo before, which is, the fact that this is going to be here for some considerable time. When I joined the air cargo industry, which was just after the Wright brothers made the first flight, we were moving boxes. And then we were starting to move household printers because they were expensive. Now a household printer is $20. It's the toner which is the value, not the printer. We used to move big desktop computers. Then they downsized. Now we don't even move laptops because the value is sometimes too small. Big televisions, now flat screen televisions. So the air cargo industry has to evolve as global production and global consumer trends evolve. But something like e-commerce is actually a different factor. This is the factor of time. It can be something very small. It can be a tie, a belt. It can be a glass case, whatever it is. It's not the value of the product that's important. It's the timeliness that I need it by. And that's where the air cargo unique value proposition really comes into play. Also on fashion. When I was a youngster, which was before the Wright brothers, of course, for us, the high street was the fashion. We used to walk along 4 times a year. The high street chains would, for each season, bring in a whole new range, and we would go into there 4 times a year, and we've seen everything. Then Inditex came along, which was Zara, Massimo Dutti, Pull&Bear, Bershka, and they introduced a new concept, which was fast fashion. Here they were using exclusively air cargo globally to say that if, you know, I was going to say Princess Diana, but sadly that was the wrong one. It's Princess Kate. When Princess Kate Middleton was wearing something, 3 weeks later, you could buy it in any one of their stores around the world. They did an analysis that their customers visited their stores on average 19 times a year. So they had to have a rapid and e-cargo based supply chain because their customers expected every time they come in to see something different. Both of those models have been thrown away now because we have Shein. Shein, which is actually, and this is phenomenal, in 3 years, they are now 3 times the size of Inditex's total group in terms of sales. They're like something region like $25 billion worth of sales. No outlets, purely all from production, factory to the home. They have a big challenge in terms of making sure that they have supply chains in place that can meet the global demand, and they're focusing very heavily on making sure that they have connectivity that can achieve that. If you go to Hong Kong or Singapore, you can actually, in Hong Kong, I was there in March, and it was a Friday. There was 128 freighters being handled by Hactel, just one of the ground handlers on that day. 80% of them was moving e-commerce products for Shein and Temu, just 2 e-commerce platform providers. I then went back and said, well, 10 years ago, what volumes were they moving? They didn't even appear on the chart. They weren't even around, you know? So this just shows you how rapid things can actually move. Another thing I like to focus on in terms of measuring success is the impact to others. On, I think it was May 12th of this year, 90 countries celebrated Mother's Day. On that one day, over 400 million people presented or received flowers that were actually moved via air. And if you look at the 4 countries in particular, so we have in Latin America, we had Ecuador and Colombia, and of course in Africa we have Kenya and Ethiopia, producing most of the flowers that move around the world. Then people challenge us and say, well, we should be growing flowers closer to home. We shouldn't be air freighting these flowers around the world. This is one of the challenges that we have to combat with the facts. And the facts are that in my birthplace, the UK, if you want to grow flowers to give on Mother's Day or even Valentine's Day, you're going to have to grow them in artificial conditions in heated greenhouses with fertilizers, with pesticides, with the heating component of that, rather than fresh-grown flowers. But also, most importantly, these are generating livelihoods for 18 million people. That figure was actually just in Africa. So there's 18 million people in Africa whose livelihoods are very much contingent upon the fresh produce and the fresh flowers that are actually moved. So what do we say to these people? I'm sorry, we want to produce things in greenhouses that actually destroy the water table, put chemicals and fertilizers into our soil, and also not allow you to grow your business and to put food on the table for you and send your children to school. So we have to make sure that we don't just look at the cargo that we move, but we look on the impact of the people that are producing it and the impact on the people that are receiving it. This is my career history. Highlights, blank screen. Okay, this is better. Let me build this up. But as an air cargo industry, we're also very much impacted by what happens around the world. We know, sadly, the Russia-Ukraine war has had an impact on so many areas of society. And of course, with the closure of airspace, it's added extra time for flights, it's added extra costs. And with the situation that's happened in the Middle East now, with the Red Sea situation, and it's now over 100 ships have been attacked, 2 have been sunk, a number of lives have been lost, but the sheer threat or risk of a commercial shipping line being attacked in mid-flow, the Red Sea crossings is pretty much out of bounds for most maritime operators. So they're sailing around Africa at an extra 2 weeks length of sail, extra cost in terms of fuel. That's actually put a very big extra demand on air cargo. But of course, we very much need a very open and consistent global supply chain. Whilst it's good short-term for air cargo, it's not good long-term for the global economy. Other challenges that we're having to tackle right now as an industry, particularly from the e-commerce side, there's several aspects. Forgive me for using quite a technical term called de minimis. De minimis is basically your duty-free level. So in most countries it's set at a reasonable level, same as when you come back as a passenger, you can purchase things up to a certain level duty-free. The US has a duty-free or de minimis level of $800, which means people can buy goods overseas, import them, and up to $800 don't have to pay any tariffs on that. The US has a particular concern about their relationship with China. And if you look at the fact that they have actually even put some legislation through, and they've called it End China's De Minimis Abuse Act. The facts are not that. The facts are we as consumers are buying things. So it's not China's abuse of the de minimis, it's us as consumers taking advantage of the situation. And we will consume and purchase. So we have to make sure that the regulators are fully aware that the benefits go two ways. International trade is very much about that, trade. And that if you actually apply protectionist measures in one country, you will get retaliatory measures elsewhere. And it actually holds everything in a constrained state. This is also one of the challenges with regards to what's likely to happen for electronic vehicles, as the perception is that the subsidies that are taking place in one area are not fair and equal, so we'll have some further impacts that will impact air cargo as well as global trade. And lastly, we're also having to combat, let me just bring these up. I've highlighted three areas here. The first one is the top one, which is from a group called Stand.Earth. And they published a report recently, and this was taken directly from it. They're saying that air freight is a threat to climate progress and public health. So I engaged with this group, and basically they're making strong demands in there to say that e-commerce, they're asking for a ban on e-commerce. They're asking that governments make insistent that where things can be produced and grown and manufactured close to point of consumption, that they want governments to mandate it. And I responded with them, as I said earlier, about the 30 million children's lives who are saved every year by moving the vaccines around the planet on the networks that airlines have established. I said, who wants to ring those children and say, if we cancel all those networks, how do we move the cargo to those people who are really in need and use it? So we can't look at things in isolation. We have to look at them collectively and holistically. Another group, and this is the Let's Talk Aviation. These people are attacking us in aviation, not just cargo. It's the stay on ground people. It's the ones that cut holes in the fences, chain themselves, stick themselves on the yellow paint, etc. And again, they're not looking at the economic benefit that aviation in totality brings to the global community. And lastly, one area that does concern us all is the proliferation of lithium batteries in the supply chain. Those lithium batteries which are manufactured in accordance with standards and shipped in accordance with ICAO standards, and ICAO has done a fantastic job of putting together workable and practical standards, they don't present any issues. The issues come from the counterfeit manufactured lithium batteries because they are then smuggled. They're not declared because they don't meet the standards. So they're smuggled. They're usually smuggled in things like children's toys or clothing or other things where they're not packaged properly, and those are the products which really present a safety risk. So as an industry, we have to work much more closely with customs officials around the world to try and identify and eradicate that particular abuse. I probably really shouldn't finish it, but I'm going to change that in future. I shouldn't really end on that sad note, so I'll end on something more upbeat next time. But I just want to say thank you guys again for the invitation to come and speak. For anybody that's in and around Miami, around early to mid-November, we have our Air Cargo Forum where we're going to have about 4,000 dedicated cargo professionals at a big trade show, etc. But enough about that. Thank you very much again for the opportunity today.
Thank you, Glyn, for the wonderful insight into the world of air cargo, and also, of course, for the daily days of humor that you always deliver in your speeches. Now I would like to invite on stage once again Mr. David Ciceo for his keynote presentation of the day.
you very much. Thank you very much to Glyn. Very interesting presentation. Also, in connections that in Romania we want and we have to develop carbon also in Cluj. Regarding Romanian markets, we have 17 airports open to international traffic. We had in 2023 590,000 passengers in more than 2019, and also this year we expect increase, and we expect to have more than 25 million passengers in Romania. What is also interesting is the total available seats in Romania in 2023, more than 27 million available seats, average load factor of 88%. In Romania, we consider there is high demand for air transport. 2007 was an important year for Romania. The traffic liberalized and the bilateral agreements disappeared. The foreign airlines could enter the market, and it was a very important moment also for the regional airports and for Cluj Airport. Regarding low-cost carriers, they increase a lot. We will see later the increase of their shares. In 1999, in Romania, we had only 2.2 million in total Romania. So it was a big increase. 2023, more than 24 million, 11 times more. 1999, Bucharest Autopen airports, they have a little more than 1 million passengers. In Cluj, we were very low. Last year we had 3.2 million passengers, more than it was in total Romania in 99. Regarding our airports, it was very important. Until last year, we managed, there was a program for European funds for infrastructure, for regional airports. Bucharest and Ikondo was not eligible, and all the airports invested a lot in safety, security, infrastructure, terminal, runways, taxiway, apron. It was very good that safety and security, it was financed 98%, and the rest, it was financed between 50% and 75%, depending on the number of passengers. Regarding this year, for 7 months, we can see Cluj is second regional airport, Iași is a third. Second airport, first regional, Iași the third airport, Timișoara the fourth, and but there is potential for all airports. The National Institute of Statistics published regarding first semester of 2024, 90% were scheduled flights in Romania. Foreign air carriers, 83%, national air carriers, 16.2%, international traffic in Romania, 93%, and domestic traffic, only 7%. Regarding Schengen or Schengen, regarding Cluj Airport, but it is mostly the same in the country. 24% until now it was non-Schengen, Schengen 76%. This, as you know, Romania entered Schengen area, but only with airports, not with the ground transportation. We hope at the end of the year to also the ground transportation to enter the Schengen area. It is very good for passengers, for our airports, and we we research what is good, what happened in other countries which enter the Schengen area. We expect an increase of the traffic. Exactly the reason, probably, they say it is from foreigners, it is a better perception. It is like a domestic flight. And being like a domestic flight, it is more easier to travel. So also because of Schengen area, we expect a slight increase of the traffic. Regarding cargo in Romania, it is still very low compared to other countries. For the first 7 months, we had only 24,000 tons in 2023, but we have an increase of 7%, so more than 26,000 tons. So big potential for Romania in future, and also from previous year, Glyn told us a lot about cargo, and it was very interesting how sometimes passenger traffic compete with cargo in terms because money are limited. So it was very interesting comparison. Regarding capacity, we have low cost with around 70% of the total market in Romania. It would be more interesting if you compare Romania 10 years ago, when we there had a lower share. They have almost 50% of our traffic with there. Ryanair 13%, Tarom 11.9%, High Sky 5%. So it's a great dynamic. We are happy that here is Onur, the colleague from Pegasus. We will have the opportunity to discuss, and thank you very much. We hope to see Pegasus in future in Romania, and it will be very interesting to tell us more about low cost and traditional airlines. Regarding top destinations in Romania, London is first. London is first also in Cluj, Milan, Paris, Rome, Bucharest, Munich, Istanbul, Brussels, Vienna, Barcelona, and others. We have a big ethnic community in London. Munich, we have mostly for connecting flights. Regarding the forecast, we consider there is big potential in Romania. We analyze and we think in 2040 the realistic forecast would be around 57 million passengers. Big challenge, because this means that we have to upgrade our infrastructure, we have to increase. We need double terminals, we need double aprons, and of course we need airlines to fill this. Regarding Cluj, we are in the heart of Transylvania. We have a very good catchment area, 3 hours flying time to most Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. We have a catchment area of around 4 million passengers. We have also big competition, as we can see, Romanian airports, but also Debrecen airport in Hungary, close to the border, which is very active, and they address to the same counties as Romania, three counties. They assure transportation. They have high ambitions. Regarding routes, we have more than 50 routes, connections to 6 hubs in more 20 countries. 18 airlines. The traffic increase, we started in 96 with Dreams, 30,000 passengers. We can see in 2007 the increase. Poland and Hungary, they joined the European Union in 2004. We studied what happened in Poland and Hungary, and we started to design for future infrastructure when we had 100,000 passengers. And in 2008 we finished the arrival terminal, where we are now. 2009 the departure terminal, and when we had 150,000, we prepared the infrastructure for 3 million passengers. A lot and newspapers consider the terminals are too big. We still have the newspapers, the media and newspapers that they said we build terminals for birds. And 2019 they criticized that they are too small. So we managed to extend the terminal, and we prepared design for a future terminal, a totally new terminal. So 2007 was very important for Cluj aviation, for Romanian aviation, Lufthansa, with their other foreign airlines, they could enter the market without approval. Our forecast in 2040 to have 7 million passengers. We have to prepare the infrastructure for 7 million passengers this year. It is a very complicated year because there are not enough planes on the market. Wizz Air, they have 65% of our traffic. They have problems with engines, Pratt & Whitney engines. They have to recheck the engines, not only Wizz Air. There are 1,000 engines in the world. Wizz Air, they have 100, and they had 40 planes grounded, and they canceled destinations and frequencies in Cluj. Also, there are late deliveries of Boeing. Ryanair is affected. That's why we will remain this year at 3.2 million. But we have a great perspective of growth. Discussing with our friends in aviation and specialists, they consider we will reach 7 million earlier than 2040. So we have to prepare in Romania. As I said, this year will be around 25 million passengers. Romania has around 21 million inhabitants. More developed countries in Europe, they have the traffic 5 times the population. Also concerning this point, there is a lot of potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David. And let's say in every industry there are some highlights, some very important people, let's say, that have proved throughout time that they are very well prepared and delivering performance wherever they act. So now I would like to give the stage to Mr. Kostas Iatrou to stage a bit the 2024 Regional Air Transport Awards ceremony for this third edition.
Thank you, Sorin. As you know, from the first edition, we started to give awards because we have this event to meet people and talking about region, but also it's to be important to recognize companies, organization, and of course, above all, I always say if this industry exists thanks to people. Therefore, we have 3 awards this year. And we started the first one, that is Organization Award. And the 2 previous year winner was Airlines for Europe and ERA, the European Regional Airlines Association. Then this year we move to another international, probably the probably the first international organization is TIACA. And I don't need to say too many things about TIACA because Glyn covered me really well in his presentation, his amazing presentation about the contribution of cargo. And you know, I remember when I was, as everyone's talking, especially during COVID times, I think we recognized the importance of cargo. And I remember with yours, my son, that looking at the press conference, virtual press conferences, and saying how they're going to plan to transport vaccines, because you know, it was the period that we were searching about vaccine, and then when it will be ready, then cargo played a vital role. And Glyn presented when there was no really passenger traffic, vaccines safe, and we are here without any more wearing masks and be in physical presence. And also, I give another example of cargo that is a little bit close to what Glyn said about Kenya. You remember, it's a while ago, in 2010, when was the volcanic eruption in Iceland, that, believe it or not, farmers in Kenya bankrupt because they couldn't transport flowers to Europe. And then we know that still aviation is not for everyone. Still we know that a small percent of people are able to travel around the globe, but cargo makes this possible to contribute to the global economies, because via aviation they manage to bring these valuables to everyone. You know, as Glyn said, part of refrigerators or iPhones, any other things that are, let's say, essential in our lives. And as Glyn said, with the younger generation don't want tomorrow, but they want yesterday. Then they contribute to our evolution of modern lives. And then sometimes cargo, you know, the shipments that they don't complain or they don't thank because they don't have a voice, but really is critical and important, as Glyn presented, what's the of how many trillions of dollars in economies, then it's important to be recognized. And I'm really happy to, this year award goes to TIACA, and Glyn is the boss of the Director General of TIACA will accept the award on behalf of the horizontal organization, because it's not only about airlines, it's about freight forwards, it's about all the chain of cargo. It's quite critical, it's quite important. Then, Glyn, the floor is yours. Give you the award.
Now I can deliver the other 4.5 hours that I promised earlier. I really want to thank you very much for this, to ATN and for everything behind it, because as you quite rightly said, air cargo, sometimes we feel like that the cousin that nobody wants to acknowledge, or the stepchild, etc. And I was always told that I had the perfect face for cargo. You know, I should be in the ramp and I should be under the plane, not in the plane. It took me about 20 years before I figured out that that was an insult. But I took that as pride, that air cargo is playing a vital role. And, you know, again, thank you very much for this. I really do appreciate it on behalf of the whole cargo industry. Thank you.
Then the second award, it's a corporate award, and this year award would go to Pegasus Airlines. For those who don't know, Pegasus is a leading low-cost airline in Turkey, which is a private company and provide regional price transportation opportunities in point-to-point basis. It is also an airline that it's really have a modern fleet and compete in a very dynamic environment. You know, Turkey has really made a huge contribution in transportation, also Turkish Airlines, the Riga, Istanbul Airport, TAV airports, and so on. They have more than 100 aircraft, but a really young fleet, if I'm not mistaken. Honor, you get 1 aircraft per month, if I'm not mistaken, almost 1 aircraft per month. And it's a really modern fleet. I had the opportunity to fly with your airline last year. It was amazing service. And really, they start with only 6 domestic locations, and now there is 130 locations that connects, of course, regions, and we have 93 international and 37 domestic flight locations in 49 countries. Then you can understand that, as we said, this award goes to the contributors of regional economies, and as Sorin and David probably will, inshallah, will see Pegasus colors being here in this airport near soon. Then we have the pleasure to invite Onur Dedekoğlu, I hope I pronounced correctly, the Chief Commercial Officer of Pegasus Airlines, to accept the award on behalf of Pegasus Airlines.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kostas. I think Dr. Kostas told everything about Pegasus that I would want to say. He really gave the highlights. Happy to be here holding this award on behalf of the whole team at Pegasus Airlines. Despite many difficult years and difficult days of the aviation industry that we went through and still going through, it's always nice to be in this very dynamic industry, keep growing, transporting people, moving people around to see new things, experience new things, and contribute to the world economy. I think I won't go into more detail about Pegasus because we will be in the panel together, so maybe we will discuss more there, and I thank you so much for this award, and thank you for the invitation. Honored to be here.
Thank you very much. And as I said in my opening remark regarding the awards, this business exists probably to crazy people that make this business what exists right now. Right, brothers, the world is a successful one, but there were many people that risked their lives or died in order to accomplish what is something commonality for all of us. If this business exists thanks to people and leaders. And it's always, in our awards, we conclude the award ceremony with the individuals, leaders that make this industry great again. This year, winner of the award is a fellow Romanian, but it's not because we have this award ceremony in Romania that he gets the award. It's an important figure of the air transportation. He's also my brother, but he didn't get the award because of my brother. Because I have many brothers, I cannot give awards to all of my brothers, but those that deserve to get this. This year winner is Cătălin Radu. That is the director, currently the Director General of Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan. But he is one of the three, actually, when we discussed with Cătălin, the only successful Director General that had the same role in two different countries and really transformed the industry here, survived with many ministers here in Romania, but also working in Kazakhstan, reform, taking Kazakh Airlines out of the blacklist. But to go back and praise about Cătălin, he has 2 university degrees, 4 master degrees. He was, as I said, 2 times Director General in Romania for years in Kazakhstan. He was served as Vice President of Eurocontrol, President of ECAC, a successful one, I can say. I cannot say more, otherwise I will have, we are live streaming and I cannot say more about successors. Vice President of Iatrou, and the most important, because we need people, leaders, and make them think out of the box. After 28 years, he established a new civil aviation conference recently, the Eurasian Civil Aviation Conference, that complement the other sister organization, ECAC, ACAC, AFCAC, and ACAO. Then it's built not only to really reform Kazakh aviation sector, but also to build a strong link between these countries in the Central Asia. But he was also in ICAO as a lead of safety. He was instrumental in establishing GACOs and enhanced the power of regional organization. His contribution was essential in boosting regional cooperation and promoting partnership among all aviation stakeholders. And of course, he served, as you know, under the Director General of Hermes. He was the founder of Hermes, Air Transport Organization. He served till he have to step down due of the conflict in ICAO as a board member. And I'm really the honor to invite Katalin Radu to accept the award, the individual award. Thank you.
Thank you. A real pleasure and honor. I'm humble to receive this award here on my birthland. Romania made me who I am today, and I think that we had, all of us, a great contribution to build the success of aviation with our historical predecessors that make the planes flying from the ground, and today is building the future in different other areas. It's also a very good opportunity to see how at the global level we are building partnership and we strengthen our cooperation. I just had this few months ago Glyn with the TIACA in Kazakhstan for regional events over there for the first time in Central Asia. We are building new partnership, and we try to make sure that at our level of the industry we create added value for the whole supply chain, but also trying to connect better the people and the businesses. Of course, Kazakhstan is a great country, and right now as Director General I'm trying to accomplish the growth of Kazakhstan in the region, but also the global level. We just opened a new permanent representation in ICAO a few weeks ago, and practically became a leader of that part of the world in ICAO. So now I want to thank Kostas, Ciceo, and everyone, but most important, all my fellow friends from aviation, because aviation is a beautiful industry, and we all have to grow it together. We cannot be alone. That's why my goal always was to try to partnership and to work together. But also I want a special thanks to my family who supported me for the last 2.5 years. Without them, being far away in the far east, and they were close to me to try to support all this endeavor to become better and to bring a little bit more added value to the whole chain. So thank you once again, very humble and honored.
Thank you. Before we make a short break in order to build the setup for the panel, I would like to invite the winners, the 3 winners, together with Dr. Ciceo, to come for a family picture, please.